Hello, Switchy here. Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin was recently released for the Nintendo Switch. The game is an experience, but it is not perfect by any means. Here is a review of the best and worst aspects of the game. Please make sure to subscribe so I can continue to review games and do other game-related things. Loading times. Get used to seeing a black screen with a shaking egg. The world is large, but it's also divided into a number of smaller zones. Each time you enter a new area, it is time for the game to load. Usually, I do not care as long as there is a long time between game loads. But in Monster Hunter 2, it's way too often. It also destroys the experience of running around in a whole complete world. Now it feels more like the world is fragmented and lacks wholeness. In the end, I just get tired of having to see this egg again. In Zelda Breath of the Wild, it was solved by giving game tips while the game was loading. But not here. You just have to wait until the game has finished loading. Monotonous gameplay. Maybe killing monsters is the best thing you know. And that's okay, I also think it's fun. The problem is that this is basically all you do. Although there are certain aspects of the game that offer some variation, you know what to expect. To kill monsters. Even what is fun can be monotonous in the long run, and this is where I think the game falls. If the game developer had just varied a little more, the game would have had the potential to be as good as it gets. Character selection. As I mentioned in my review of Monster Hunter Stories 2, there are not many choices to create and change your game character. It's almost as if the bosses sat down at a board meeting and decided that, yo, developers, in this game you should have the opportunity to create your own character, but you only get one day to solve it or you get fired. Seriously, it feels like the character screen is very hastily made. Sure, there are some choices, but hardly something that makes one jump up and cheer. Best things. This game costs $60 and in terms of size you really get a lot for your money. The game is really big and there are many places to explore. If you have to explore every corner of the game and complete every quest, then you have many hours ahead of you because the game has a lot to offer. Forget that you finish the game at record speed. If you play the main story and do everything else around, well, then it probably takes days to complete. That's one of the strengths of the game, the size. There are so many areas and parts of the world that take time to explore. That in itself is quite fun and makes the game feel alive. Combat. The battles, which are turn-based, are sometimes really entertaining. It is important to be tactical and choose the right strategy against your enemy. The rock, paper and scissors system is fun because it is about gaining the upper hand over your opponent. Find out which attacks the enemy is using and respond with attacks that are even stronger. In addition, your monster is fun to work with. With your monster you can make completely sick attacks that hurt the opponent properly. And in interaction with other companions, you become even stronger and sometimes completely unbeatable. In addition, you get to see nice cutscenes when someone uses a special attack. This makes the battles dynamic and seldom boring. Tutorials. In the game, the usual problem of overuse of tutorials has been solved in a good way. Too many tutorials can make a game feel boring and exhausting, but in Monster Hunter Stories 2 the developers have solved it in a good way. They have more or less portioned out the tutorials and kept it at a very concise and simple level. You hardly need to be a genius to understand what is described, which means that you get started quickly with the important things, to play the game and have fun.